game time, and boy, it was purple sugar of all things, and it was like, oh my god, it was like razor blades up there. Oh my god!
You just need to do the Hulk Hogan bandana from now on.
No. That's Hulk's thing. That's Hulk's thing.
Well, we need to find something unique and original besides a hat for you.
Well, this is appropriate.
It is appropriate hat. You're selling cars, so it's a good hat. It's a good hat. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think of something unique to your personality. What superheroes?
A beanie, a propeller beanie.
The propeller beanie would be good.
A propeller beanie. We hit it right off the bat.
Yeah, I was gonna say either that or what kind of hats do superheroes wear?
Propeller beanies.
Propeller beanies.
Yeah.
I can't really think of superheroes wear hats unless it's like a helmet.
Yeah.
You know.
Now kids nowadays, they think a beanie is like a watch cap.
Yeah.
I found out because there's no propeller on it.
Right.
How can it be a beanie without a propeller on it? Some of them even had a battery for the propeller.
And that's why we're doing a show trying to inform millennials what is going on in the world.
Right.
What they're missing out on.
Right. Remember Jughead's hat?
Yes.
That's actually a fedora that they cut and then pin the sides up on it.
Yeah.
And you know what that actually denoted back in the day with like the Bowery Boys and the Little Rascals and everything? If somebody wore one of those hats, that meant they were a mechanic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why Jughead had one, I don't know.
Maybe.
But also remember Goober and Andy Griffith wore one, and he was a mechanic.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know they did a whole TV show on the CW that's Riverdale that is Archie.
Does he have the hat?
Archie characters. I've never watched it.
Oh wait, that's Sexy High School that they spoofed on Family Guy.
Yes, yeah. Everything.
Even Chris is ripped and Sexy High School.
So that's the CW.
Wow, the one with the most promising future got killed. How did that happen?
Yeah, right, exactly.
If you're 25 years old, ripped or extremely hot, you get to play a 16-year-old high school kid.
Right. Now, do you
on
know,
the CW.
You know what they did for that? Millennials will remember this. All Riverdale is, and you guys, they did a cartoon in the 90s called Archie's Weird Mysteries.
No, the millennials won't remember that.
Yeah, they will. It was the 90s.
Yeah?
They grew up in the 90s.
Well, they were like little in the 90s.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
why. They'd see an Archie cartoon.
Well, millennials, let us know if you remember
Archie's Weird Mysteries. And every
it's like
week,
a Scooby-Doo kind of thing?
Yeah, but they'd run into a werewolf. Archie was writing for the school paper, and he'd
Yeah.
do all these stories on the weird things that happened in Riverdale. Do you remember that one? And they,
that's a no. You can just say
these
no.
potato aliens came and everything like that. It was really good.
Yeah?
We used to run it at the network I worked for.
Okay.
And it was a good cartoon. I really enjoyed it. But that's all Riverdale is.
Yeah.
They just said, let's take Archie's Weird Mysteries and fill it with sexy high school kids.
Well.
That's all they did. That's all they did.
Sex sells, right?
Sex sells.
Right?
Yeah.
Which, that is a perfect segue into Tim Conway and Don Knotts.
Two kings.
Two kings of sexiness.
If you only had thrown Harvey Korman in there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So number 10 on the top 10 westerns that millennials have never seen is the Apple Dumpling Gang.
What year was this? Because I saw this in the theaters.
It was like 74, 75.
I'm too young to remember just about anything about it.
Yeah.
But I did see this in the theaters.
I saw it as a kid, like in the theaters too, or at the drive-in possibly. Probably saw it at the drive-in.
Don Knotts.
But it's Don Knotts and Tim Conway. And that's all you need to know.
Right, Don
really.
Knotts. Well, they know who Don Knotts is because Scooby-Doo is still a big thing.
Yes.
But all they know him as is they'll pull the monster mask.
Yeah.
It's Don Knotts. They're like, who the fuck is Don Knotts?
Well, and if they haven't, they also need to watch Three's Company.
Mr. Furley.
Mr. Furley.
Do you know that cost Norman Fell? Norman Fell left to have his spin-off show, The Ropers.
Yeah.
Because he was Mr. Roper, you know, and everything like that. And they said, you can always come back.
Right.
But Don Knotts was so funny as Mr. Furley that they couldn't get rid of Don Knotts.
Yeah, nobody wants to get rid of Mr. Furley.
No,
I mean,
Mr. Furley was the man.
Anything with Don Knotts.
His hands are registered weapons. You can't get rid of Don Knotts.
So if you guys don't know who Don Knotts are, you need to go down the rabbit hole and look at Don Knotts and Tim Conway. And they were in this 1974-75 Western. And so the whole point of this series of Westerns here, we're doing ones that more than likely you guys have never seen. So we're not doing any of the Man with No Name, 1960s spaghetti westerns.
No.
We're not doing any John Wayne westerns.
If they're film students, they know about those anyway because they're all based on the samurai movies and the samurai men. They say so they've been taught.
Yeah, and we're not doing Butch and Sundance. we're staying away from, even though those movies are 50s, 60s, 1970s, and they're old, if you like Westerns, you've seen them.
Is the villain on here with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kirk Douglas?
No, but that's a good one.
I remember that because it was so damn funny.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
But what I did put at number 9 here is Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah.
So Blazing Saddles, probably one of the most inappropriate movies you'll ever see.
Oh, yes. You could never make this now.
No, you'd never be able to
Never
be able to make this now. But it's funny. It is so funny. So Western comedy here. And look at how good this trailer looks. Like some of these trailers are obviously old. And
Harvey Korman's in this.
Yes. Yeah, but...
The guy the big guy that knocked out the horse, he just died not too long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Blazing Saddles, great Western. It's, when you think of Westerns, there's a lot of different things that a Western can be. A Western can be a comedy, a Western can be a horror movie. But Cleavon Little.
John Hillerman is in this.
Yeah.
Who played Higgins in Magnum P.I.
Yes.
And he was so good at that
Gene
that
Wilder.
people genuinely think he's English.
Yes.
Like Englishmen actually called him up and said, "You're English." And everything.
No, he's a Texan.
But this is what he actually sounds
Yeah.
like. Is what he sounded like in here. Welcome to our new. And I'm not going to say it, but you know what? Yeah, but that's what he actually sounded like. Oh, there's Slim Pickens.
Yeah. So actually, I have a good John Hillerman story as well. So that a few years ago, I say a few years ago now, it's probably been 12 years ago or so, I was working on a film where I actually, in a strange twist, I was just an actor. I wasn't doing anything except acting.
Wow.
And so December was the name of the film, but the guy that played my dad in the film was in Magnum P.I. and was also in Tales of the Gold Monkey.
Donald French.
No, not the French guy. He played the mechanic in Tales of the Gold Monkey.
Oh,
and he was the Navy buddy in Magnum P.I. Mac. In Magnum P.I.
What's the name of I know who he is. How come I'm drawing a blank?
I'm drawing a blank right now too.
But he's a great actor. He was also in Dr. Shrinker.
Such a nice guy too. He was so nice. And
he was in Dr. Shrinker. He was great in anything Billy Barty.
Yeah, and he died actually not long after that film. He was only like 60 or 61.
I remember that now. Didn't I give you a Gold Monkey book for him to sign for you?
Yeah, and he was just such a nice guy. But anyways, we were just sitting there chatting one day because with that, when you're an actor, sometimes you just have to sit around and wait for everybody else to do stuff.
I know I am saying French.
Yeah.
He also played French in Black Sheep Squadron.
Yes, he was in Black Sheep Squadron.
Yeah, he
as well.
played French.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he was a great guy, and one of the things, I'll finish this story, and so we were just sitting there one day, and he's like, you want to talk to John Hillerman? And I was like, sure. And he literally just pulled out his cell phone and called John Hillerman down in Texas.
Oh, wow.
And got on the phone with him and said, hey, what's going on? On this set of this movie, and my buddy Tony here plays my son in the film. He's a big Magnum P.I. fan, and so got him on the phone and just had this Texas drawl, his little Texan.
Oh, y'all do.
Yeah.
You didn't think you were talking to Higgins.
Nope. Yeah, no, not at all. No British accent whatsoever. But then he's also the same guy that told me that the reason that Airwolf, the TV show, got made was because Belisario wanted a helicopter.
Jeff McKay.
Yes, Jeff McKay. Jeff McKay, great guy.
Actor.
So Jeff told me he was like, yeah, the whole reason that show got made is because he just wanted a helicopter, and he knew this way he didn't have to buy it himself if he bought one for the show, and that's why Airwolf was made.
I just remembered something too. You and me were at NAPTY in 2004, and there were these guys there selling a TV show about Elvis in the future.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was watching their trailer, and Jeff McKay was in it, and I was like, "Oh my God, you got Jeff McKay!" And they just seemed to. But I was flipping out that they had been able to get Jeff McKay, which I guess by that time was probably a C-lister.
Yeah, he was retired,
but not to us.
Yeah,
we saw Jeff McKay, and we were like, "Oh my God, Jeff McKay!"
Yeah, he was retired at that point, and he was collecting his SAG pension and everything. And but this was just an opportunity to do a little project and play. He was a really good actor, a really good guy. But he had some health issues, and just a year and a half after shooting that, he died. He was 60 or 61. So great guy, Jeff McKay, Magnum P.I. Really good dude. So the Three Amigos. Again, maybe
Martin Short, Chevy Chase,
and Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
I mean, come on, those three.
And Vanity?
Those three together. I don't know if that's Vanity or not. We'll have to take a look.
Who is that?
There's a bug. There he goes. flying on my TV. But this is
It's Florida.
1986 or 87, something like that. To this day, like a quotable.
Is this where
movie.
"We Don't Need No Stinking Badges" comes from?
No, that originally is from Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Oh, okay.
But everybody's been doing a take on that for years. We don't need no stinking badgers and so on and so forth. But no, that was Treasure of the Sierra Madre. If I'm wrong, I'll put it on the TV here. Old black and white Western, actually. But comedy.
They had recently discussed doing a sequel to this.
They did, but these guys are kind of old now.
They didn't care. I wouldn't care.
No, I'd still go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when you do these sequels, though, to films 40 years after they've been made, though, you lose kind of the charm. You know what I mean? They try and do too much. When if they keep it simple.
Yes.
You know, just keep it simple. Don't overdo it. It's funny enough just having those guys together and being complete.
There's a rule in making comedy that comedy is very serious.
Yeah.
When you're making a comedy, everything is very serious. Like if everybody's working on a tragedy or something, everyone's laughing and having a good time in between scenes and everything. But for some reason, comedy is very serious.
Well, because you have to, if you don't play it straight and play it serious.
Right. That's what Werner Kempler said about Hogan's Heroes. He said, "Oh, you were also funny. It must have been practical jokes and everything like that." And he says, "No." He says, "We acted like we were in World War II, and I was the commandant, but that's what made it funny."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the seriousness of taking it too seriously oftentimes is what makes it funny.
Right.
So coming up, we have another 80s era film here. Not super obscure. At the time, it actually was a pretty big film, but The Man from Snowy River. A lot of people are going to be like, the what?
I think you've even got me on this one.
The Man from Snowy River. It's actually sort of, and for the ladies, we try and mix it up here a little bit.
Oh, another romance.
Another romance.
Like with Time After Time.
That's right. You know, we had a time travel romance movie.
Time, yeah.
We got a Western romance movie, too. But this also has Kirk Douglas in it.
Oh, wow. Who died recently, even though people thought he died 30 years ago.
Yeah, because he was 99, wasn't he?
Yeah, 99.
99. I can't even imagine making it to...
Ned Land.
Yeah. Almost 100. But this was 1982, The Man from Snowy River, and Kirk Douglas plays the dad, doesn't want his daughter to mess around with this guy, and...
Here's one that you just see when they show another picture of Kirk Douglas here. Do you know they used to putty in his chin in his early movies?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't like that dimple in his chin, but that's what he's known for.
Yeah, it's so unique.
Even when they make like a cartoon thing out of him in Animaniacs, the dimple is like this deep.
Yeah, the caricature of him is...
Right, but back in his early films, they used to putty up that dimple.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't like it.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. What other features on actors would you be like? Let's just cover that up. a lot of actresses over the years, you know, have actors too.
Yeah, I don't have coronavirus, by the way. I'm dying from excessive vaping. Is that Emilio Estevez?
No.
Who's that kid?
I don't think so. But in a little teaser for later in the show, we do have a film with Emilio Estevez in it,
okay.
on the list here. But Man from Snowy River, I mean, so it has, you know, your Western elements, and, you know, it's got the action and the...
Westerns come out in blurbs now.
Yeah.
Like you'll get Cowboys versus aliens or something like that. Once in a blue moon, they still make a Western, but back in the day, that's all they made.
Everything.
It's like, believe it or not, like all your Star Trek actors.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, too, especially Leonard Nimoy. He usually played Indians.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't rope, shoot, and ride a horse, you weren't working.
No.
You had to be able to do those three things in like the 50s and 60s. Because
the,
that's all they made was Westerns and cop shows, and that was it.
From the 1920s to basically the early 70s, it was all Westerns. Well, here we go. We're going to jump to the 90s, though, for Young Guns.
Oh, you have to see if I'm right here, but I'm almost positive the first actual TV show was The Lone Ranger with Clayton Moore.
First actual Western TV show.
I think first actual TV show. You're going to have to look it up and see if I'm right.
All right, well, yeah, we'll check it out.
Okay, now this is a good one, even though it historically butchers the story. People die in the wrong places. People die who should have lived. People live who should have died. It really has nothing to do with the Lincoln County War whatsoever.
We're not basing our choices on history, so just the entertainment value of the westerns and the cast in this film. As well.
Brian Keith was in this.
Jack
and
Palance.
He played the guy that fought them at Stinking Creek.
Yeah.
I think it was, and the character in here reminded me so much of my dad.
Oh, really? Brian Keith's character.
Yeah, Brian Keith's character in here.
The shootout when he was in the outhouse.
Yeah, he just kicks all their ass. Now that's historically accurate.
Yeah.
He did a good job of defending himself from the revenuers or renegades or regulators. That's what they call
Regulators, right.
Yeah, he did a good job of defending himself.
Nothing but Lou Diamond Phillips, Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez,
all the Brat Packers,
Jack Palance, Brian Keith, and
Terrence Stamp.
Yeah, Terrence Stamp.
Kneel before Zod.
And the other thing about that film that made it such a big deal, we're going to pause before the next one here, was the soundtrack. At the time, Bon Jovi did...
And he is also in it. He's the cowboy that comes up out of the prison pit with the shotgun. He takes somebody with him and then gets killed.
Yeah, it was a huge song.
Yep.
Huge song.
Blaze of Glory.
Blaze of Glory.
And he did the flip side of that. He does one with Little Richard, who just passed away yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, the flip side. Like back then, records had a B-side.
Yeah, your 45s.
And the B-side was this song that Bon Jovi did with Little Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on here.
I read a book on this.
Yes. So El Mariachi. So if you guys, we're assuming you all know who Robert Rodriguez is. If you're watching our little movie show here, or our little show about nothing or everything or whatever we talk about. At the time, the way Columbia was promoting this was, hey, we just had a director that made Boys in the Hood. You got to see this next director's film. You got to see this guy. He's 23 years old. Made this film for, I believe, $5,000.
Yep. I read a book on him. This is when he was nobody and nothing.
First film, yeah.
The story of making this is more interesting than the actual movie.
Yeah.
It's just crazy what he put him. Do you know how he got that $5,000? He put himself into some kind of lab test where he couldn't eat or something, and he still has scars here.
Really?
Where they cut the meat out of his arms to examine the meat after he didn't eat.
Wow.
For me to get the $5,000. He volunteered his body for medical tests.
So young filmmakers out there, if you're not volunteering your body for medical testing and winding up with scars for the rest,
then you need to look at this guy.
For the rest of your lives, then you're not dedicated to your craft. We're telling you that right now.
Right. And all these guys were just his friends.
Yeah.
The big guy that they show in the bed with the three women, that was his one request.
Yeah.
Was he says, you show me in bed with a bunch of women. And he's like, okay. Yeah, it was a very good book.
Yeah.
Very good book. And as a matter of fact, they got him when these was remade with Antonio Banderas.
Desperado was a sequel, yeah.
Yeah, he's on stage with Antonio Banderas playing away with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really the story behind that movie getting made and how it launched his career.
Right.
And that was the really cool thing, I think.
He actually lectures on that or something, doesn't he? I think he does.
Yeah, well, I mean, he lives in Austin. University of Texas is there, so he's got his studios there and everything. But again, it's I guess what you'd call a modern Western.
Now this I know a lot about. I love this movie.
Yes, well, Quigley Down Under. What a great film. What a fun film.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman is a Western villain of all people, but it's taking place in Australia, which was a prison colony.
Yeah.
Like if somebody says, well, I'm an Australian with all this history. Well, they find out their history. They're descended from a rapist or a murderer or something like that. Because that's what Australia was. It was a prison colony called Botany Bay.
Yeah.
And England would ship everybody there to get rid of them. That was their, because it's an island.
Yeah.
They don't have room for all these prisoners and criminals and everything, so they'd ship them all off to Australia, which at the time was nothing but a prison colony.
I mean, and it's obviously huge. It's a continent.
Yeah.
But Tom Selleck, when he was trying to make that transition from TV star to movie star.
That flopped horribly, and I don't understand because I saw this, I saw Lassiter.
Yeah.
I still love High Road to China.
Yeah, High Road to China was great.
I even read the book it was based on.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he just couldn't take off as a movie star.
Yeah.
He's still big in TV. He's in Blue Bloods.
Oh,
now.
yeah. Yeah.
But for some reason, he just couldn't capture a movie audience. He was going to be Indiana Jones.
Yes, he was.
But commitments to the show, Magnum P.I., he couldn't do it.
Yep.
And he's way more leading manish than Harrison Ford. I know all the Star Wars now and everything, but he would have fit the role.
He'd have been great for the role.
Yeah,
he would have been great.
But he just could not conquer
make that
movies
transition.
the way he did to TV. And I guess there's a lot of that happens to a lot of TV actors now. That I think about it.
More so back in the day than it does now.
Yeah.
It used to be you were TV or film.
Right.
You weren't both. And the film people never did TV.
No, you're
God
right.
forbid. You would not take a step down.
TV is where you ended up. It's funny that everybody remembers Jan Michael Vincent for Airwolf, but he had a huge film career before he ended up in TV. And the reason he ended up in TV is he was difficult to work with.
Yeah.
And I don't mean difficult like, where's my Perrier? I mean, he'd bust a PA's teeth out that said the wrong thing to him or something like that. And that's why he ended up in TV.
Yeah.
It shows that we shoot in a live environment.
It is a live environment, that's for sure.
Now, this one I recommended.
Yes.
I recommended this one.
Red Sun.
Yeah.
1971.
Yeah.
Charles Bronson.
And the reason I recommended this one is because all these westerns are based on samurai films, and all those samurai films starred Toshiro Mifune, who was the Japanese version of John Wayne.
Yeah.
They even make a joke out of that in 1941, Steven Spielberg's movie, where Slim Pickens from earlier says, "You're here to bomb John Wayne's house, ain't you?" And Toshiro Mifune looks at him and goes, "John Wayne?" Because he was the Japanese John Wayne.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he starred in all their war movies, all their samurai films, and here he comes.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting to see where Japan went from World War II to, I mean, you're not talking much that long after World War II. You know, this is 25 years after World War II when this movie's made.
Yeah.
I mean, their whole culture shifted from,
imperialism
trying to take over the world to
Westernism and being the second largest economy in the world, I think.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably moved around at that, from at certain points.
I know in the 90s they were.
Yeah. Well, I remember the big thing in the 80s was all the Japanese companies coming to the U.S. and buying up companies.
They even made a Godzilla movie. Oh, Ursula Andress, the first Bond girl.
Yes.
The first Bond girl.
Yeah, 62.
Yep. And she's in she's actually Swedish, isn't she?
I'm not sure. But she's also, of course, in
The Blue Max.
Yep.
Yep, she plays Katie in The Blue Max.
And Superman.
Oh my God, look at those legs. And Charles Bronson. Yeah, I love when Charles went. Do you ever see a thing on The Simpsons where Charles Bronson he had to take Andy Griffith's place for a day on the Andy Griffith show?
No.
And Don Knotts from earlier runs in and says, "Why isn't Otis in his cell?" And Charles Bronson goes, "I shot him." He says, "Oh, that's it. You what?" He says, "Now I'm going down to Emmett's Fix-It shop to fix Emmett." And he goes, "Fucking." He's just going around the set killing all the characters on the Andy Griffith show.
Because, of course, Death Wish.
Yes!
That's a Simpsons episode from what year? Do you remember?
Oh, God, it was an earlier one.
An early episode?
They've been on for 33 years. They're all earlier
I know.
ones.
What, you don't have them all memorized by now?
I do. Remember that time I killed all of you in Simpsons trivia?
Yes.
You made me play on like level 7 or something while you guys were playing on level 3.
There's no competition there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, one of the great things about Westerns that I love is mixing any genre with a Western, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And this isn't necessarily a mixed one, but when you bring in some Japanese samurai and throw them into a Western film in the 1970s with Charles Bronson, I mean, come on.
And the samurai hold their own. Don't think just because they don't have guns, which historically samurai actually loved guns.
Yeah.
They loved those big arquebuses with the wick that you'd stick into them. But yeah, they hold their own. And then the Indians show up and the samurai are, tomahawks and katanas and stuff like that. It's a very good movie.
And here we go with another mixed Western film here. This is Tremors 4.
Oh! This happens before Tremors.
Yes, this is sort of a prequel to the Tremors films, which if you haven't seen the first Tremors film, that was the one that everybody...
Yeah, everyone's seen that.
Yeah,
even millennials
I would hope
have
you've seen that by now.
They know all the Kevin Bacon, the steps to Kevin Bacon.
Exactly. But Tremors 4, what a bunch of fun this was. It's a Western with giant monsters, basically. Mm-hmm. And, of course, stars one of the...
he's in all of them.
Yeah, he's
the dad from Family Ties.
He's actually the only actor that I think goes through all of the Tremors films.
If I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but he's executive produced the TV show.
Probably.
He knew that Tremors was like his thing.
Yeah.
This is something you've got to accept, and I have a hard time doing this because I don't want to be a one-trick pony like my hero George Reeves. I've tried to do a dozen things to get me out of being superhero. But that always seems to be what I fall back on. So if you've got one thing, maybe you should embrace it. Well, ride that one-trick pony, ride that pony into the ground.
It's funny then.
I don't know what to do about that because I do, even now, I'm Tony and the bald guy. But I'm always trying to find a way to get out of your stereotype.
It's so funny. It's so funny that you say that because that statement is... There's another Western. It's a modern. I say modern Western now, but it was done in the 80s.
Oh, I love this one
with Jack Palance and Billy Crystal. You remember
City Slickers?
City Slickers, and that was Jack Palance's thing. It's like you could do the Jack Palance better. I think it's the one thing.
Yeah.
Find one thing in your life and make that your focus.
Billy Crystal says, "Hey, Curly, kill anyone today?" He goes, "Day ain't over yet."
So City Slickers, we could have put City Slickers on this list too.
Jack Palance is the man.
Yeah, I could have put City Slickers on this list.
One-arm push-up champion. Look it up in your Guinness book.
Yeah.
If you want confirmation, right here. One-arm push-up champion. He had a set of guns on him.
Yeah, Jack Palance was awesome.
Yeah.
And so here we go. Come in.
I love this movie, and this is the first time you ever saw Russell Crowe in America.
Yeah.
Because Sharon Stone saw him play some skinhead Nazi in a film in Australia, New Zealand, and liked his work so much, she brought him over here for this.
Well, you got Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone, Russell Crowe, Leonardo DiCaprio, a young DiCaprio.
And just the story itself is beautiful. All these guys that they want to know who the fastest gun is. And every year they get together in this town for a big cash prize to see who the baddest gunman is.
Lance Henriksen's in this
Lance
as well.
Henriksen's in it. Everybody, and they all have a unique gimmick.
Yeah.
Like the Indian. I have 12 bullets in me. I cannot die. And they all have their gimmick as to why they're the fastest gun.
And the other...
And like Leonardo DiCaprio is the bastard child of Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
And all he wants is for Gene Hackman to acknowledge him as his dad, and he's willing to kill him to get him to acknowledge him as his dad.
Yeah.
And that is probably the actual story is Sharon Stone looking for revenge against Gene Hackman because he killed her father, but that story is what actually stood out to me.
Yeah, and the other kind of amazing thing about this film as well is Sam Raimi, who everybody knows from the original Spider-Man films and from Evil Dead 2 and the Evil Dead films and stuff like that. But the style and the way that he shoots this and the editing of this film is
amazing.
It's very Sam Raimi. Basically Evil Dead style in a Western. It's such a great film, so much fun, and definitely something that millennials have probably not seen. If you millennials have seen The Quick and the Dead, let us know about that.
And Russell Crowe actually plays a preacher who was a mercenary for Gene Hackman, and Gene Hackman wants him to come back, and that's why he drags Russell Crowe, who's a preacher, for God's sake, to be in the shootout because he wants him to find his stones again and come back and work with him, which is more of a passion among enemies story than anything else. Quick and the Dead, it has so many storylines in it, and they're all so interesting. I can't recommend Quick and the Dead enough.
I'm going to have to watch it again.
That is
I haven't
just
seen
an
it in a while,
incredible movie.
And it comes in at number 1 on our list.
Yeah, I love Quick and the Dead.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go, top 10 Westerns that millennials, more than likely, probably have never seen. Hope you like the show, let us know what you think. Subscribe, hit the like button, all that other fun stuff that you're supposed to do when we tell you to do that here on YouTube.
Round them up.
Round them up. Yeah. See you next time.
There you go.